All right. All right, we're gonna get started. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you guys to our final school board meeting of 2020 for December 16th. It is our regular school board meeting. Tonight we have Steve Zanoni and Sean White with us. They'll talk on a little bit about what's going on with our construction project. And before we get started, just wanted to congratulate Mr. Jolly on being the 2020 recipient of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland's Equity Champion Education recipient. He received his award yesterday, and I believe, I know two of us watched. I'm not sure who else watched it, but you did an amazing job with your acceptance speech. And once again, we are just so proud of the work that you're doing in our district, and know that we now see it as truly being recognized locally as well as on a national landscape. So congratulations and kudos to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So without further ado, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Dr. Rock, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Gator?
Here.
Mrs. Moomin?
Here.
Mr. Roberts?
Present.
Mr. Freeman?
Present.
Miss Mitchell?
Here. We are all here and accounted for. If we can take a few moments, I'm going to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we are going to move to item 1.3. If I may have a motion on the floor to approve tonight's agenda for December 16th, 2020.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move item 1.3, approval of tonight's agenda for 12/16/2020 for our board meeting, regular meeting.
All right. Mr. G, Dr. Rock, is there anything that you are removing from tonight's agenda?
No, ma'am, nothing at all.
All right, board, is there anything that we're adding to the agenda for this evening?
Not for me, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, is it possible, let me see, is it on the agenda? Were we gonna have a discussion about committees?
To begin the conversation, you know, Mr. Jolly and I started talking about it earlier today, and we never finished it.
Did you want to just wait till the next meeting?
Yeah, for the
Mr.
organizational
Jolly,
meeting?
Well, to decide what the committees are gonna be. Mr. Jolly, do you want to begin the conversation tonight, or do you want to wait and think through it a little more and then we discuss it?
Yeah, I had some questions about some of the things Ms. Mitchell shared with us.
Okay.
I'm open to, we can make anything work though.
No, we can, I mean, if we need to work it out some more and you want to just, send something to us in an update, and then that would be
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, I just wanted clarity of what the outcomes were going to be. So, exactly what the committees, it was some academics and things that I wanted to just flush out to make sure we had measurable outcomes and things.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Oh, sorry, Mimi. The other thing that I wanted to add, I did see that NSB sent the early bird registration for the upcoming annual conference. We want to add that on the agenda so that just to discuss it. We have already approved us being able to go, but just to let Dr. Rock know as he begins to vet out the dates, I believe it's early April, because I did a quick look. If we wanted to add that to discuss this, so we can go and begin looking. I don't know what the dates are for early bird registration. And Dr. Rock, I'm not sure if you received the email and if you looked at it as of yet.
It says that the piece of paper that I have, it says early bird registration starts tomorrow, and it runs till February 19th.
Oh, we've got time then. Let's talk about it in January. Is that fine with everybody?
It's fine for me. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's what it says. It says early bird savings end February 19th, 2021. So you do have some time.
Right.
Yes, sir. So with nothing being added to the agenda, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, who's second?
That was going to be my question.
Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
thought, I thought someone seconded already. I'm sorry. We need a second on the motion, please.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Next on our tonight's agenda is item 1.5, public participation. And Mr. Jolly,
1.4. It's 1.4.
1.5 is public. Oh, I'm sorry, we did.
We didn't do the
skip
minutes.
I'm sorry, we skipped it. Next on the agenda is item 1.4. We need a motion on the floor to approve the minute for the November 18th, 2020 regular meeting.
Madam Chair, I move item 1.4 on tonight's agenda for approval of minutes, looking for the November 18th, 2020 regular board meeting.
May I have a second?
I second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Board, is there any discussion?
None for me.
Dr. Rock, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Now we can move to public participation.
Okay, so for public participation, we started a new process where people can email in whatever their questions is for public participation, or what their comments might be. So for this one, we received 2 emails that I will assume be presenting if it allow me to. So our first one was from Nicole G. And hold on. Hers is, she has 2 comments for the board. Her first one centered around, I would like to know why our elementary students only going to school half a day. Surrounding schools like Shaker, Maple, Bedford, and Cleveland are going whole day and 5 days a week. I think it's a disservice to our children. I would also like to know why the special education department or pupil services are now sent out information regarding Learning Ohio Aid, which is a grant for children who have an IEP. This grant allows the students to get a tutor so they can get extra support. I think this is a great resource that should be shared. So for that one, I do have some answers for that. We did receive it, so I did reach out to our team. For the second part of the question, we did post that on our website, the grant. Miss Lindsay will have more information. She did reach out today to speak to Mrs. Gordon, and she did not get to speak to her yet, so she did already start the process of reaching out to Ms. Gordon about her concerns. On the first part about the, while we don't have full day instruction for our elementary students, so when we were devising our return to learn plan, part of the issue is, can students be online all online, especially our little ones, kindergarten to our kindergartners to 5th graders. And with that, holding their attention all day, how effective would that be? And then also when you're looking at a Google Classroom, you got 25 kids on there, you cannot even see all 25 kids on the screen. So how effective is that? So we made the decision to do a morning session and an afternoon session for our scholars, where we broke the classes up. And with that, and even with the research says that our elementary students only should be online for 1 to 2 hours a day. That's what the research says. So what we've done to try to maximize and make the time the most important and make it a priority, and so that the kids get the most out of it, broke it into a morning session and an afternoon session. that allows our teachers to be intense. We have on live lessons 5 days a week. A lot of the districts that was cited don't have live lessons 5 days a week. And some of those don't have full day instruction that she did cite. But for us, we want to maximize our students and teacher engagement. Our teachers teach 5 days a week live lessons. And then the afternoon or the morning is spent doing assignments. So that's doing the things that you would do normally in a class, but you're just doing them in the afternoon. So our teachers are in smaller groups. They are more in tune with where the students are. They're contacting the parents. So we believe that our process is effective because it's more intense. The teachers are able to see all the kids and they're able to teach them at the highest level. So we believe that in the smaller groups, the teachers are able to provide more feedback and tend to the students' needs than if we had 30 on the screen. Because half of them they wouldn't be able to see, half of them they wouldn't be able to be in tune with. So that is our response to that. Dr. Caver did directly email Mrs. Gordon about our thoughts behind that. And then we also discussed that, our plans of trying to return to school too. So she was contacted and the response was given directly to her. The second one was from Miss Annette B. And she says she feels it would be beneficial to have an extended school year as leave the children remote. So with that one, that was in response where we put something on social media, just asking parents for feedback on how we should correct or try to address the learning gaps, the COVID learning gaps based on the pandemic. So we're seeking ideas and thoughts from parents on what do they think we should do in response. Tonight in my presentation, I will share with some of the ideas that we're coming up with and some of the plans that we're trying to work together with the union on, that once this pandemic is over, that we have a distinct plan to catch students up. So this one I will address later in my presentation. All right. Are there any questions about the public participation? So this will be the process. If we get it early, we will get the answers before the meeting. If we get it late, then we'll research the questions and then get back to the people and report at the next meeting what the response were. I appreciate the people who did send the emails. We encourage people to send them. Everything, we'll do a PowerPoint and we'll present them just like we did today.
Just as a reminder, the email to send it to us, public participation, all one word, at whcsd.org. And if you want to have your public participation comment read, it must be received by the board by or before noon on the day of our board meeting.
Right. So the day of the board meeting by noon, that gives us preparation time. Now people send them earlier. The earlier they send them, we're able to answer questions and get information that we could present at the meeting, the answer at the meeting if they get it to us early. If they don't get it to us early, then it might be the next meeting, but our team will communicate with that person individually to get them a response, and then we'll report the response at the next meeting.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So will we let them know for sure that their comments will be read, or will we let them know when their comments will be read? If they get it in at 11:45, will there be an email or something that says your public participation will be addressed at the meeting, or unfortunately, we're going to have to move your public participation to the next meeting?
So I think anything that comes before 12, we will read it. We'll put it in so we got the template now. We'll read it if it comes before 12. If it comes after 12, we will say it'll be at the next meeting.
I'm sorry, maybe I didn't say that right. Are we contacting the individual to let them know that we did receive it and it will be read, or we just kind of
did that today? We didn't contact them and say it would be read, but we did respond to the individual. So I think that's another process that we'll do to say, yeah, we're gonna read it tonight. But we directly went to the people who sent it and said, here's the response. This is what we're doing. So they got the email, the response. Dr. Caver did respond to Mrs. Gordon, and then Ms. Lindsay did reach out to Ms. Gordon. So that's all documented.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Are any other?
I have one more. Madam Chair, I'd just like to ask Superintendent Jelly, in our special education department now, do we have any type of tutoring for those scholars in our district right now? Or?
We have our aides and we have others that are working very close with those students. Again, this is a whole new, you know, you can't really have people going over people's houses and things. So this is very difficult. But our aides and things, our aides are working very closely with our students. They are going to homes and providing services and dropping things off. But that's why we are really need to get some students back into some type of physical school. It's so important because some of the services are people to people. They are not computer. I mean, some students need a person. A computer doesn't work. So we do the Zoom meetings, the Google meetings and things to try to provide that. Our aides are doing individual meetings with students, you know, pulling them out and doing meetings online. But again, it's tough. So it's very tough. But we do have tutors that students are receiving. We have it in a middle school and high school schedule. It's part of the school the schedule. They have a study period part of the schedule.
Thank you so much, Superintendent. Thank you. That's it,
Any other questions? Okay, so I'll go to the superintendent report, and I'm gonna talk slower. I'm going too fast. All right, so first I want to talk about Operation CatchUp. So Operation CatchUp is based upon the identified need that we have students that are far behind based upon the pandemic, having issues with logging in. Some have issues with just in home environment. Some kids don't learn well on the computer. So I charged our team to come up with a plan or create a plan that once we can fully go back to school, or once this things start to go where we normalize, what will we do to catch students up? So, you know, this is thinking ahead. This is thinking like when things get normalized, what would be our plan when things are normalized to catch our students up in Warrensville? We clearly know that there's going to be large gaps. You can talk to most of our teachers. They would tell you that they're very concerned about a large group of our, I mean, I want to say the majority, but a large percentage of our students and what they are learning, how they attain, you know, their attainment, their retention of information, and just the whole learning that's taking place at this time. So we want to have a plan, and I just want to go through how we plan on getting the plan. We don't have the plan yet, but we had a process. So I want to go through what the process is, who's part of the process, and then later we will have a plan to present to the board. So our goal is to provide intense intervention for scholars in response to the global pandemic. So what are we gonna do once this is over? So our goal, what we would do, and what we're planning and getting this together is extend this school year. So looking at this school year, how can we add some days to this school year? If we can get back in person some kind of way, can we extend the school year so that our kids get some additional time with a teacher in front of them? Now we understand and know that there's gonna be students who won't come back, whose parents won't bring them back to next year. But we do understand and know that there are some, like today, we were passing out coats and passing out Christmas trees and things. There are some that really need them to come back, and they voiced that today. Our next part of this goal is that this has to be a collaboration with our unions, with WEA and OC. We have to have them on board and working with us on this. This does not work without their collaboration. So we've included them in planning this Operation CatchUp. What we want to do is provide intense intervention for pre-K through 12. We actually have students who are in the first grade who went to school to March and have not been in school since. We have kindergartners who never stepped foot in school before, and we're at the midpoint of this year. Those kids will need intensive intervention in order to catch them up. We're looking at, and this is the time of the year where we look at where we bring the calendar to the board. So we're looking to modify the calendar to provide some more instructional days. So how do we get more days for our students in a school year? Traditionally, we have 173 instructional days for our students. We need to add more instructional days. We also want to do some kind of transition to the next grade enrichment. So as part of this extended school year, how do we prepare students for the next grade? So maybe actually having them spend a week with their teacher for the next grade in this extended school year, so that they have the opportunity to build that bond with their teacher that's moving up. And then also maximize our instructional staff to meet the needs of our scholars. That means every person on deck as we extend the school year, to try to lower this class sizes, use people's strengths so that our students, we know exactly where our students are, and then we are able to catch them up. So what our scholars will receive, and this is all based on COVID data, is in-person instruction. So that means the people that need a person in front of them will have it. They'll receive intensive intervention, meaning identify what their weaknesses are, and then we will provide them with the intervention needed to shore them up. We have small group standard-based instruction, meaning that using the standards that we go by anyway, we'll try to lower the class sizes or the groups so that it's individual or as small as groups as possible so that students can receive what they need. And then the transition to next grade enrichment, trying to prepare students for the next grade as we shore them up on the grade that they're recently in or that they need more assistance with. So the extended school year committee, these are some of the questions we want them to ask and develop a plan for. Like, will it be different from summer school? Now, we already do extended year with summer school already, sort of extended year. So how would this be different? I mean, why would we need to do an extended year if it looked just like summer school? So they need to be able to define how it looks different than summer school. The next one is, can we mandate it? If we extend the school year, can we make kids come to make them come? Those are questions I want them to work through. Because there's some people that really need to be here. We need to mandate they come, but can we mandate they come? How would the encore teachers be utilized? Because if we mandate everybody, how would they be used in it? I skipped the high school credits. If we extend the high school, again, summer school is for people who want credit. If we mandate and say all high school students have to come, how would the credits be handled? So these are questions that the committee is working through. How would the days be structured? Will we go by the traditional schedule? Will we shift it up to make it look different? All of the, and there's different ways you can structure a day. But we want all the best plans out to try to figure that out. Then how would data be utilized to inform the focus for each student? And then the embedded transition period that I talked about earlier. So we have a committee, and as I shared, these are the people on the committee. When we created this, we talked to our union president, Pam Barnes, and we said that we wanted this to be a joint venture. We wanted leadership to be shared by both the unions and administration. So every committee has a union co-lead, and then they have an administration co-lead. So for the extended school year committee, the co-leads are Ms. Morris and Ms. Hunt, and Ms. Boynton is the WEA representative. And then we have the committee members. We have a mixture of teachers. We have some OC members on some other committees, but on the extended school year, we got Ms. Lozar, Ms. Ray, Principal Thompson, Vine, Ms. Rainey, Ms. Conforti, Ms. Powers, and Mr. Powers and Ms. Ortiz. And they've already met once already, so they've started the conversation. All the committees have met. I think it's self-apparent of them. So the modified calendar committee, and this is just basically our calendar committee that we have every year that we coordinate with the union on. So they're asking these questions. Can we just use the current contract and provide more instructional time? So that's looking at PD days, looking at vacations and things. Can we just use the same calendar? One of the obstacles in it is that the high school in the spring of 22 needs to be vacated before Memorial Day, so that Sean and his group can start the process of tearing the high school down. So we need all the high schoolers out of the high school by Memorial Day so they can do that high school demolition and put parking lots up in the summer. How would that be incorporated into the calendar for next year? With that, can the entire district calendar be aligned together? Meaning if, you know, if the schedule, we do an elementary schedule and a high school schedule based upon the having to get out early because of Memorial Day. The grading periods, again, what is the minimum amount of instructional hours we need to add? So what is the maximum amount of additional days we need? And then the professional development days and so forth. So that committee have met one time already, and the lead facilitators, and that's not right, but the lead facilitators of that is Ms. Caver and Ms. Barnes. It should not say Vaughn, it should say Pam Barnes. Pam Barnes is the co-chair of that one. And then you have Lozar Hunt, Lisa Harris, which is Ms. Braxton, who was married, Sean Jones, Henderson, Hogan, and Ms. Reisman is also part of that committee. She was recently added. So the lead facilitators of that is Dr. Caver and Ms. Barnes, Pam Barnes. And then the Parent Involvement Committee, their goals is to provide timely communication to parents and stakeholders. So as we roll out this plan, they'll be responsible for that, working along with Ms. Heck, Savannah. They have to determine how would the information be distributed, how would they get feedback, how would they get parent buy-in for whatever plan that is. So each group will make a plan, which they will present to me, and then we will send a comprehensive package to the board to be reviewed. Parental involvement, that's the lead facilitator is Dr. Reynolds, and then you have Ms. McKellar is the co, and then those are the committee members, Ms. Bishop, Lisa Harris, Ms. Ray, Ms. Harris at John Dewey, Ms. Turner, Ms. Chiselton, Security Officer Connor, and Savannah. So are there any questions about Operation CatchUp before I move to our tentative return to learn plan? Any questions?
A quick question. As far as the committees, at this point, these are all just your committees, right? These are not committees that.
Yeah, these are all my district committees. That goal is to map out a plan to present to the board for extended school year, and then to present our calendar for next school year. So we want to have all the buy-in, all the information we need for the board to approve these two items.
Okay. All right. No, that's all I have. Thank you.
Any other questions?
It's not a question. It's a statement. And I'm going to say it's just time for all of us to give back. We need to do this for our children. We got to give back. So this is for all of the staff, the school board people. We're going to have to do whatever it takes to catch our children up. And if that means that, Mr. Jolly, you need a tutor, I will be there. Because it is so important that we be there to help our children catch up. You're talking about almost a whole entire year
out of school, yeah.
Out of school, and I know remote learning. I know, but half of those students are just not getting what they need. I know that. So I think it's our responsibility to make sure we lay out an excellent plan to try to get our children caught up by next year.
Right. Any other questions or concerns? I am totally in agreement and in support, and we're going to try to figure this out.
Okay.
All right. So return to learn. So we did send out notice that when we send everybody home that our possible return date would be January 25th. So I just wanted to map that out, how that's gonna look. If the COVID data allows us, then this is how it's gonna look. So we will start with a survey to parents as soon as we get back in January. Our teachers in schools will survey our parents to see who's gonna bring them back and who's not gonna bring them back. From today, when we did the coat distribution and the Christmas tree distribution, it was like 100% said they want the kids back. Now it's just a small sampling, but people were very adamant about that kid need to be in school. Small sampling, but that was today. We will provide a safe and secure environment for staff and students. Again, we made a lot of investments to ensure that everyone is safe. Moving into the new school, understanding that we probably will have 40% that will stay online. We have plenty of room to bring our students back to the new WEHS, and then middle and high school, understanding probably about 50% will stay home. We have enough space to bring students back. If things go well, we will return our instructional staff to the buildings on January 19th. So that's after Martin Luther King Day, in preparation for our students to return. And then the first day of school would be January 25th. Based on the numbers, we believe that we can bring them back 5 days a week. Socially distanced, we believe we can do it. So it's all based on numbers. If the numbers permit and allow us, we will bring them back 5 days a week for instruction. And again, as you see with the asterisks, it's all based on COVID data. And then what our students receive in-person instruction based on parental choice. If the parents want them to come back, they will receive it. And if they want remote instruction, they will still receive that too. So we'll still run the parallel schools until the conclusion of this year, and as long as we need to. So I want to ask you any questions about the plan moving forward. It's all based on the data. So if the data does not permit us to come back, then the recommendation won't be to come back. But if it does, I believe we need to come back. And this is the plan too. Any questions? Or I know there's concerns. I acknowledge that, but this is the plan. And we will, as we have done all year, monitor the situation, and then we will make decisions based upon what's on the ground. Yes, ma'am.
Just a question. So we don't have our meeting set yet for January. In the event that when we do set the meetings, the time, our meeting dates kind of fall outside of when staff is scheduled to return, I just kind of like to ask if we could maybe consider having a special meeting to discuss a return to school and what it would look like.
I would definitely request that if they're outside the boundaries of what the meetings are, I would definitely request and feel we need a special meeting to finalize if we move ahead or not. Yes, ma'am.
And I was gonna ask at that time, I know that you will make sure that we'll reiterate all the safety measures that you guys have already built, put into place to ensure safety for everybody. Because I know you all have very extensive plans.
Right.
Fortunately, the COVID data just really knocked us out of the ballpark this time. So we had to sit down so we could try to get this virus to slow down.
And I think if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Right.
So we have to plan, and then if we have to adjust, we will.
Right.
But we gotta have a plan, and that's even with the the extended school year operation CatchUp. That's what we're calling it. We gotta have a plan, and if the plan don't happen, so be it. But if we have the ability to do something, we want to be ready. And I just think all these are plans so that we're ready. If we could go, we can go. If we can't go, then we just postpone the plan and move it down to when we can go. So that's why we are creating these plans so that, we're not playing behind, we're playing from ahead, and we're ready to go when we can. All right, any other questions? Okay. So I do want to talk about diversity, our diversity plan. We have some we've been, just as a district, we had some concerns about diversity on our projects. And I just wanted to address that because I know we addressed it in October, but I just want our people to know that this board has been committed to having diversity on all our projects. From day one, February of 2019, the board passed a resolution stating that we wanted to have 20% participation on our projects. And we've been committed to that and been working very hard to obtain that through our contractors who we've hired to do the work. And we will, and I want to say this, we on a quarterly basis, we will have Ariane Kirkpatrick, who did present a lot of this data already to the board, that we want to continue to keep this in front of people. Because again, we are a small community, we all are working together, and I just want to make sure that all the information is always put in front of the people so that they're always aware of what's going on, so there's no misconceptions or misunderstandings of what this school board has committed to and has worked diligently to enforce and make sure it happens. So again, the board, when we knew we were going to have these contracts, wanted to make sure that minority-owned, women-owned, disadvantaged businesses all were being part of this construction project. So if you look on our website, there's the plan is on the website. It's been on the website so that anybody who comes and searches for our district can see what we've been committed to. So important definitions so everyone knows: a minority, MBE is minority businesses, WBE is women businesses, FBE is female business, and then EDGE is the diversity, growth, and equity. So that's, you know, a combination of all of them. So the state, on all of these, the state's goal, and these are our goals, the state's goal is 5% across the board. That's their. We asked for 20% across the board. So that was our goal for 20%. Now, as we did these projects, I started to understand how this really goes. So every project is going to have a percentage of minority contractors that they need for the project. So you got all the projects across Northeast Ohio, and you got everybody that need minority contractors. Now, there's not a lot of minority contractors in some trades and fields. So they are a premium in those fields. So everybody's competing with them for them to participate. So with that, in some areas, you're not going to get a lot of people, let's just say women masons. There's a limited amount of women masons in this market. Yep. So the competition for them is very high. So you might not see a lot of women masons that are able to fill these roles. So what Affinity's assured us is that wherever they can find minority contractors, they will bring them in. They've hired the AKA group to help facilitate that. Also Coleman and Spine, which is Lonnie Coleman's company, also to help facilitate that. So these are the goals: minority workforce, 20% of the workforce. We are expecting them to fill with candidates that is minority. That can be female, African-American, women, so forth. And then the goal for women workforce, again, is 5%. And that's based upon there's not a lot of women in skills trades, and the demand for them is very high. So actually, if you went on our project, you would have seen female carpenters, floor trades, and different things. But there's not a lot of in that field. So for our pre-K to 5, that we, for minority-based businesses, we had 18%, so we're a little bit under it. 23% was female-based, and then 13.76% was EDGE. So that's a combination of them all. Now, Ariane, she will definitely do a presentation at our next meeting to explain what some obstacles are, but a lot of it has to do with demand, supply and demand. So as diversity, the project committed 1.6 million to EDGE, and so far they've paid out over 2.7 million to EDGE. So they've exceeded that. So the amount of money paid out to the EDGE companies exceeds what was budgeted initially. And then the total workforce diversity, 25% of this project has been minority hours. So 25% minorities have worked on this project, 3% females on the project. So there's been deliberate efforts to diversify the workforce. Now, are they where we want them? Of course, we want them to exceed 25%, move to about 30, 40%, but this is where we were on the first one. So on the high school, the pre-construction, so only thing that's happened on the high school is that they're cleared the field and they put down the foundation. So with that, there's been 744 work hours worked. 138 of those hours have been minorities. And then out of that 138, 134.5 of them have been Black contractors. So I just wanted to go over that because we're going to make this regularly part of our presentation to keep this in front of everybody. So I'm asking our construction team to give us a monthly report so that we report to the community monthly where we are. So there's no misunderstanding, there's clarity. If there's concern, the board would know immediately and we can address it immediately. But to be as transparent as possible. Again, I'll say that for me, superintendent, all the information is community information. We try to give out as much information as possible so that everyone is clear on where we are, where we stand, so forth. We put things out on Facebook, Twitter, wherever. We put it out everywhere, and we want to continue to be transparent. And all I ask is that anybody in the community have any questions, please forward them to the board, forward them to me, and we will answer them. And we will present the facts. Good or bad, the facts will be presented. And if they're bad, we'll have an action plan to address them. They're good, we're gonna roll with them and continue to try to enhance them. But we will present the facts, and good or bad, and we will continue to strive to make this the best project, to make sure that our students are engaged in this project, and make sure that our community is engaged in this project. We did talk to the minority contractors. Hopefully next month, we might be able to announce some educational programs that we might be able to do with them, with some type of internships for 20 to 25 students who recently graduated or graduated. That's what we're trying to work on because we all in this together. We have a unique opportunity that we have a project on our property that we are controlling, and that we want people who participate in it to give our students opportunities for employment, to become immersed in the trades, and that's our commitment. And my goal is that on this next project, our students are thoroughly immersed in the project, and then we can expose our students to the trades and possibly get, no, not possibly, and we will get some to become tradesmen, that's our goal. So with that, this will be a reoccurring theme at our meetings. How this as we share the progress of what we've done, we want to share how the workforce has developed in this process also. So that concludes my report. I am open to any questions anyone has about the anything that I presented.
Yes, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ray.
I just have a statement, Madam Chair, working with Superintendent Jolly and our owner's rep, Steve Zanoni, and with the great construction mind of Sean White from Affinity. I think all those gentlemen and all those meetings, they definitely put a focus on minority and women tradesmen. Sean does a good job when he bids out for those projects. And me and Superintendent Jolly have walked those sites on the elementary school, and we've seen minority and some female participation on those projects. So You know, you may not see it, like you said, Tracy, off the street or if you drive by, but if you walk the site and you see it on a daily basis, we do have minority workers working on those projects, along with our ACE scholars on that pre-K. I mean, on the pre-K to 5th grade, we had some of the ACE scholars. So we definitely have minority, and we're keeping a focus. And I'm glad as a board, we actually put a policy together to address questions that we may have from the outside. Thank you.
Also want to add that the AKA group and Affinity gonna do some community forums in January. That is coming. The information will be coming soon. So that's for anybody in the community that's interested in possibly bidding on the project or participating in the project will have an opportunity to attend those meetings. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be virtual, but some announcement will be coming out soon. So that's anybody that's watching. If they're interested, please pay attention to our website, our social media. That information will be coming, and there'll be an opportunity for you to engage with the construction company, your opportunity to engage with our owner's rep, and it'll be a great opportunity for anybody that's interested. So and if everybody can spread that who's watching, that would be coming soon. We will be promoting that very soon. Any other questions or concerns?
I don't. I was just going to remind the community that we did also, to enforce the commitment, we have passed put a policy in place as well, but Ray mentioned that already.
So I just want to say part of my second job is the business manager. This is very intense. I'm just playing, but yeah, it's a lot to go with this. You know, just trying to make sure that our commitment to diversity, making sure that the building is you know, that Sean and them, Sean and his team is doing what you guys expect, what the community expect, working in collaboration with them, because with this, you know, every day there's decisions to be made. And the minority issue is something that is in their, you know, we keep it in their face all the time. Ariane Kirkpatrick, you know, we those questions are asked. So I just want everybody to know that Affinity has really stepped up to the plate to make sure that those needs are addressed. I can say that because anytime there's a question, they are spot on to try to resolve it and make sure that the board's wishes are met throughout the first building, and we see that on the second building.
Can I ask one quick question? What methods do we use to attract more minority or female contractors? Where do we go to get these individuals? How do they get hired? Do we know?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
And I'm asking because I know we're having a hard time meeting those numbers because there's just not a lot. The pool of applicants isn't that big, is what I'm kind of envisioning.
So, Sean, you know, Steve, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, maybe I'll let Sean. Yeah. I'll let you start, Sean.
Yeah, maybe I can answer that, and it's not an easy answer, but I'll try and put it in a couple sentences here. One, we do have an extensive database of minority, female, small business, edge firms that we keep up within the market to ensure people are active and we have their information. So one of the things that we're going to do, and I'm working very close with Arian at the AKA team, is that we're developing our bid packages. We're looking at where we can fit these level of contractors and suppliers into the mix and then engage them as we prepare to go out for bid and ensure that there's communication between all parties to provide them the best opportunity for an opportunity to submit a number, and obviously the competitiveness of that's evaluated in the process. We're doing a community outreach that Superintendent Jolly indicated, and I think we already have a date, but I'm going to hold off on that because we're trying to confirm that and location Zoom meeting and in-person kind of combination for early January. So we'll put some notices out through whatever means we can to get people to attend those, so that we can describe what the opportunity is, give them a proposal or a pre-qualification form that they can fill out so we can see if there's a fit for them in regards to the project. So we're very engaged into the market on business side of the equation. The challenge is going to be from the workforce requirements as we look at this thing, because when we bid the PK through 5 and the size of the middle school, high school, it is going to be a majority of union contracted work. So you have people that need to get involved into the union. There's sponsorships and such, apprentice training, so there's more of a development that takes time from a workforce basis. So, and there's percentages of people, and I think Superintendent Jolly hit the nail on the head there, that the market is diverse and it's across the, northern Ohio. So if you have a minority Mason, that minority Mason's wanted on every job, so the ability to engage, and even starting at the high school level with the ACE program and getting students interested in the trades and getting them into an apprentice program, get them sponsored and work through the trade. I'm a firm believer that the trades offer a great career for people, men and women, beyond college education. And if we can promote that and get people involved in that process, I might necessarily have all the answers for the middle school, high school, but if I'm getting people engaged in the process and they're getting a skill set, then guess what? Construction is going to be around for a long, long time. We will continue to build buildings, and those opportunities will increase based on their capabilities and growth as they develop skills. And we'll continue to try and do our best to promote it as any way we can. As Superintendent Jolly indicated, we'll yell our program to everybody in the community that will listen, and try and create those opportunities for today and tomorrow.
All right, thank you. I appreciate the answer, the response. I don't have any other questions.
All right, thank you. We are going to go to item 1.6. Dr. Rock, your treasurer's update.
Yes. Okay, on the first slide, once we get going, there we go. On the agenda tonight, there's a change order with the Infinity Construction. You can go to the next slide, please. And this change orders for the undercut and unsuitable soils that Steve Zanoni and Sean White presented to the board a few meetings ago. This is to make a proper building pad, and the total cost is $167,000. And please note that this is less than the initial estimates when they first presented this to us, substantially less. So that's on the agenda tonight for board approval. Next slide, please. The other item on the agenda tonight for board approval is the bus purchase program, of which we are in with the Ohio Department of Education. Warrensville was awarded $41,917. And this can be used towards the purchase of a bus, and it could be a used one as long as it's within the requirements, or a new one. Pretty much the requirements are that it can't be that old of a used bus. It has to meet the minimum requirements. So we did find a used bus, a 2016 with not that many miles on it, around 40,000 miles for the cost of $54,000. And so that we were going to use that $41,917 towards that, and then the PI fund will pay for the remaining amount. And by doing this for the district, investing $12,000, it adds to the current fleet, and it brings down the average life of the current fleet. So it still helps with the program. And again, if we were going to buy a brand new bus, those are $85,000 to $90,000 in one sweep. So this way, at least we're maximizing our efforts and using the state grant money. Next slide. The month-end close reports, you notice they weren't on the agenda for tonight, although the meeting is a little bit earlier in the month. But on top of that, we have a new accounting system that we're utilizing in the treasurer's office, and this is the uniform state accounting system with the state. It's the same. It's a software. It was a redesign, so it's a new program. It has some great advantages, but we are at the learning curve. I am at the learning curve on it, so it's taking everything a little bit longer time to close things up. And so those will be on the next board meeting. There'll be the month-end close reports will be there. We are all caught up, so this is just for this current November close, and that'll be on the next meeting. Next slide is later in the meeting in section 8, you'll see that every December, the treasurer will canvass the board to schedule the organizational meeting, which is due by January 15th per Ohio Revised Code. And at that organizational meeting, the board reviews and approves the tax budget, which is due by January 20th to the county fiscal officer. So that's like the next important thing that occurs in the organizational meeting, on top of setting the board calendar and meeting dates. So that's further in the agenda meeting for later in section 8, but just wanted to mention it. And then the final slide, I wanted to congratulate Mr. Jolly for getting his award for the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, the 2020 Equity Champion in Education. We can't repeat that enough. I know it's a repeat from the beginning of the meeting, but congratulations, Mr. Jolly. And that concludes my section.
Congratulations.
The other thing that we need to make sure we cover off in section 8 will be selecting President Pro Tem to run the beginning of the meeting, at the organizational meeting.
Yes.
So, yeah. All righty.
Madam Chair, I have one question for Superintendent Jolly.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jolly, do we got 13 buses in our fleet now? Do you know how many buses we have in our fleet? Is it 13?
Yeah, we got 13 buses, but I think we got some that's ready to go out of commission. Okay. So we're just trying to keep the fleet updated. We haven't bought a bus in years. I think we bought like 2 over the last, Dr. Rock, 2 or 3 buses.
I think two years ago.
Yeah, we bought 2.
Yeah, we bought 2 from CMSD.
No, we bought 2 new ones. We bought one.
We bought 2 brand new ones.
Yeah, one year we had to borrow buses from CMSD because the fleet was so bad and messed up that they loaned us like 3 buses. So we're just trying to keep our bus fleet updated, making sure that when it's time to go, that we ready. So that's where these purchases are coming. And again, it's just being proactive so that we're not in that position where we have to go to another district to get a bus because we didn't have a plan. And that's where I keep going back to. What we try to do is plan things ahead so that we don't ever get caught without having what we need to serve our scholars. So with this bus strategic, we got a grant for $41,000. So basically, we only paying $13,000 for a new bus, which is outstanding.
And
much needed. Thank you.
And that grant that we're getting is not an annual occurrence. Mm-hmm. Years ago, 20 years ago, they used to give you a steady stream flow of bus purchase reimbursements, and that ended. So this was like maybe pretty much a one-time deal. So that's why we wanted to move fast, be able to get something that's within our current budget. And so in order to just maximize the opportunity.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We've seen quite a bit of proactive planning, and the proactive planning has truly paid off for us over these years. So thank you both. Next on our agenda is item 2, and I am going to ask for a motion on the floor for items 2.1 through 2.2, and then Steve and Sean, when we open the floor for discussion, if you guys will then take some time and provide information about the change order.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that we accept as a consent agenda items 2.1 Infinity Change Order Phase 2 and 2.2 Bus Purchase Program.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
It's moved and properly seconded. The floor is open to discussion. So Steve and Sean, do you guys want to go first since 2.1 is first?
Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you. First of all, before I start, I do want to say this is 2020 has been a very challenging year for the district. And we got through this and built a new elementary school. If you recall at the beginning of the year when this all started, we had real concerns of safety even on the construction site. And it's considered one of the safest school construction sites in the state of Ohio. And so I really want to commend Sean and his team, and I want to commend you as a board. We never got that opportunity to have a big party or just a
ribbon cutting.
Yeah, we really wanted to do that. So I hope that once things settle down, maybe we could have some sort of event at the school and for the community, because I know a lot of the community doesn't know what a beautiful building that is and what a great asset it's going to be. So we're very excited about it, and thank you all for all you've done to get us to this point. I know you give us a lot of kudos, but I want to give some kudos back to you as a board. You put a lot of faith in us, and I appreciate that. And you're the ones who went out and got the money and got this all to happen. So again, thank you all. I want to thank you that. This change order, we did discuss in October. We met at a work session. At the time, it was because of some bad soils. At the time, we estimated it around 240. We did it time and material, and we did a significant savings. We got it down to 160. The great thing about this is also, when you compare this to all the soil problems and all the issues we had on the elementary, this is minuscule compared to what we had to go through. And you all remember all of those big change orders we had to go through. So I'm real pleased. So I'm going to let Sean explain how that was done, what the issues were, and then how he was able to keep this price so reasonable. Sean, if you could walk us through that.
Sure, I'll keep it short and sweet, but it's good news. I mean, we initially budgeted $240,000 as a magnitude of cost, and working very closely with the soils engineer and on-site inspections, we're able to minimize the work without any shortcuts or jeopardizing the structural component of the earth for us to build the building on. And we're just working with the trades and the contractor on site, and we were able to really fine tune the cost. And I was very excited that we can report a value significantly less than we originally estimated.
Now, this is only for the site. As you know, we're getting close to putting a GMP for the new middle school, high school. And Sean, could you comment, when do you think we'll get that bid? Sometime in end of January, and then when do you think we'll go for bid for the project?
It's interesting as I'm sitting here. I'm on my other screen working on the overall project schedule since it's a late night in the office here. But right now, based on our core meetings and reviewing with Moody Nolan, we're anticipating 100% construction documents at the end of January of 21. We're probably looking at a couple weeks of finalizing our bid documents and such, but I'm anticipating probably a mid-February bid time frame. We'll be looking at a 4-week bid time period for the contractors. So the diversification plan that Superintendent Jolly talked about earlier, and us engaging the community, and that'll happen in January, so that when we do go out for bid, everybody's aware of this great opportunity that's out there. From there, I'll pretty much going to state at this point that I'm going to hold off on any real updates on schedule. I will say this, that it is quite a challenging venture that we're going to be engaged on as we go forward here, and I'm looking forward to it. But there's a lot of components, just like Superintendent Jolly, as I listened to your conversation of the scholars that you're trying to educate and then the board's trying to educate. There's a lot of challenges there and components. And we're moving forward, which is exciting. I think we'll have a very engaged market to bid this project in early February. And we look for good coverage, and we'll go forward, and then we will present to the board in future meetings the overall schedule, trying to tie in the components of starting school and the appropriate demo of existing facilities and what makes the most sense overall for construction and the Warrensville Heights City School District. So, but I'm excited on where we're going. We're ready. We just got to get documents finalized, and we're moving in that direction, and then we'll begin the bid process. And as you've seen before, once we go, we go. So we'll go full steam ahead on construction, and more to follow on specifics on that subject.
Great. Thank you, Sean. I don't have any more to add. Do you have any questions about the change order or where we are now in the process for the new high school, middle school?
I just have one quick question, and that may be because I don't understand, but what is unstable soil? What do you mean by that?
All right.
I'll let Sean, I'll let you add it.
All right. Yes, Barbara, what you're talking about is I'll try and simplify it because Sean can get too into the weeds here, but an engineer will determine the bearing capacity of soil for a building to sit on. Example, foundation has to be able to bear on soil that is 2,500 PSI in strength. So what we do is there's methods to measure that and determine that the compaction that you need to build a building on it is met from a design basis. And what we found is that when we got to these soils and we did some proof rolling and compaction, they failed. Then they would not get to that example of 2,500 PSI pressure for the field. Pounds per square inch. Okay, so that's what we're down to, that we're measuring it by inch. And so we have to remove those soils, and we have to put in what they call an engineered material back into there and compact that and take the old soils and remove them from the site, and then retest it to ensure that I have that bearing capacity of 2,500 PSI in the example. So unsuitable soils are the stuff that you have to remove that doesn't meet compaction. You bring in engineered fill, get your compaction, and you go forward.
So, Ms. Newman, I'll just say it's soil they can't build on.
Right.
Okay.
I mean,
I was gonna say,
There you go. That's the simple term.
Can't build on.
It's just too much. And
Yeah,
then
it's not
if
strong.
we build on it, it's going to cause cracks in the foundation, cracks in the walls. The building will continue to settle too much.
Thank you, Mr. Jolly.
Yeah, and I think, Tracy and Don, you hit the nail on the head, and probably the most important aspect of our early phase is that we have to ensure the bearing capacity is there, because you don't want the building to settle. Because if it does settle, we don't even want to have that conversation. So I will ensure that that doesn't happen, and we did in the process.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Said enough.
Yeah.
Nope, that was perfect. Thank you. With that, then, if there's no more questions about the bus program, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
And thank you very much to both of you gentlemen for coming and joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda, we need an approval, a motion to put on the floor for consent agenda, superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action administrative staff. That'll be items 3.1 and 3.2.
Madam Chair, I move that this board in number 3 on our agenda, the consent superintendent's recommendation and presentation for board action administrative staff. Should we do these separate or together?
I think we can do them together.
They can be done together. There's no
Okay.
resolution.
All righty. I'm looking for item 3.1, contract renewal superintendent, 3.2, contract renewal treasurer.
May I have a second, please?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Gator. Board, is there any discussion on these two items?
Madam Chair, I do have just a comment, if I can. I'm just proud of this board. I'm glad that we're actually giving these two gentlemen just a little token of the love that they're doing for our district. I think we want you to stay, and we want you to stay a long time with this district. I think the things that Superintendent Jolly has done and CFO and Treasurer Dr. Rock has done is unmatched by any other district. And I think with you two guys at the helm of those two positions you hold in those seats, I think all three communities are good in good hands, and our scholars are good hands, and our educators, along with our entire staff in the district. But I want to thank this board for stepping up and putting this together, and with your leadership, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We do want to make sure that we understand it's the renewal for both our superintendent and for our treasurer. And the part of the reason we extended the contract the way we did was to ensure that we continue to have the partnership between these two individuals. It has been an amazing partnership since they've been with us. They've done great things, innovative things, and we would like to keep that momentum going. And as we are working toward ensuring our scholars have what they need once we get through this phase of the pandemic, after the pandemic, going through the construction process with the high school now, we would just like to keep this team on board. So with that, Dr. Rock, could you please call the roll for the board?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. And thank you again, board. We put a lot of work into this. And I think we've done a good job. Just carrying on the tradition that we've been setting as a board to try to turn things around and continue working for the greater good of this district. We don't have anything under section 4 nor under section 5. So we are going to move to section 6. If I can have a motion on the floor to approve by consent agenda, superintendent's recommendations and presentations for personnel and programs, and that will be items, 6.1 through 6.6.
Yes,
Madam. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Madam Chair, I move that we accept as a consent agenda item 6, superintendent's recommendations and presentations for personnel and programs. That's going to be items 6.1 through 6.6.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded. Board, are there any discussion or comments under these categories?
Just a quick comment under 6.5 for the FAB Foundation. I went online and did a little research about them, and it looks like it's going to be a really good opportunity for the district. At some point, can we have them to come back and do a presentation for us once they've kind of solidified, what direction we're going in? I'd really kind of like to hear more about how they're going to work with the staff and possibly even work with students at some point. I would imagine that's going to be part of the program. Is that right, Mr. Jolly?
Yes, ma'am. So yeah, the FAB Foundation, it's President Sonia Pryor Jones would definitely will have what we do, we'll bring that to the board. This is our first time engaging with them. I've engaged and worked with her in Cleveland on the STEAM initiative there. And they have a great expertise on beginning the program and helping us map out our program. You know, we had that room at the elementary school, the air chamber STEAM room. They're working with us on getting that room together and then working with us on implementing STEAM across the district. So 100%, they'll be coming back, she'll be coming back, and we'll be bringing them to the table.
All right, I look forward to that. Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
That's fine. If there's nothing else, Dr. Roy, can you please call the roll, please?
Mr. Roberts,
Mute.
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0.
Oh, can I speak to something on this though? I want to
Absolutely.
just speak to Lowe's. Lowe's first. Lowe's gave us 50, and I didn't speak to, I should have spoke to her earlier, but they gave us 50 trees today. Between 3 o'clock and 4:30 today, they were all gone. We were at Eastwood. We have coats we're giving out to Eastwood too. All of them gone. I just want to say, thank you to Lowe's, who did an outstanding job with the donation. On the next board agenda, because last night I just got it, the Jack's Racino donated 200 pies to the food bank today.
Wow.
So we got that call last night. Ariane had their director of diversity call, and we got those delivered at 9 this morning. They gave out 200 pies this morning. They fed 223 families today at the food bank. We gave out over 200 coats along with those 50 trees. So I just wanted to share with you some of the work that's going on. I would like to also shout out those teachers today. And our next meeting, I'll have all their names who were up there passing out the coats and the trees. At least 10 teachers were there, and secretaries and paraprofessionals doing a drive-through at Eastwood. Outstanding. I mean, the commitment to our families and community is just unparalleled. Because they didn't have to be there. They were there today till 4:30. They get off work at technically at 3:15, 3:45. They stayed to 4:30 to the last tree left. So they will continue to pass out coats tomorrow and Friday because we got a whole cafeteria of Eastwood full of coats. Also, and this is part of this though, on the 22nd, I just wanted to say food service is going to give out 50 meals to families. So food service, Matt, doing a great job feeding over 900 to 1,000 students a day in our mobile meals program. He's going to do a special for some special families, 50 meals. And today we really saw the families need it. They need the food. They need they needed the coats. They needed the Christmas trees. The need in the community is at an all-time high. It is. And I would say this too. We see a lot of grandparents and great-grandparents are raising our students. A lot of them. Today, we saw, and I asked the group, like, how many do you think was grandparents or great-grandparents? And they said almost 60%.
Right.
And that was their estimate. It's not a scientific data or anything. It's just an observation. So I'm saying that to the board, the need to get these kids back in school is very high.
Right.
Because some of our caregivers are struggling. They're struggling tremendously during this time because they're not equipped. They don't have the resources, with the government and what's going on with the government. That's why we've been committed to feed the kids every single day, because this might be some of the only meals they get. These coats, I thank the Eastwood team or the WES team for securing the coats. Tremendous. Maddie Lockett, I thank her because she secured the trees, the Christmas trees. So our team, our family is coming together to serve our students. And last but not least, and I forgot, the mother empowerment series. Every third Tuesday, I will send that to the board so y'all can log on to that and see it. But his numbers are increasing, Dr. Reynolds' numbers are increasing. I know I was supposed to do this, but the Lowe's triggered it. And then the Warrensville Heights Fire Department, I always want to thank them because they give us all their stuff. So when they get finished with it, they give it to the school. Again, showing that community, that family situation where we all in this together. We all we got, and they are helping benefit our students. That's all. I just wanted to make sure everybody got that information and get the thank yous out to all the people that's working diligently and hard to ensure that our community's needs are met and our scholars' needs are met. All of them got new coats. Anybody came up there got a new coat. Some people got 4 coats. You know, families got 4 kids. They all got new coats. So very important.
Great.
That is wonderful. It's been a true blessing watching the community in our district, our greater community, the business community, all come in the way they've come in and support our students through the pandemic, even before the pandemic. It's heartwarming, and to your point, we are all we got. And it's just been wonderful watching that sense of family return back to Warrensville Heights.
Good.
All righty, we don't have any unfinished business. So at this point, we are going to move on to section 8 of our agenda, which is the discussion of the organizational meeting for January 2021. And Dr. Rock, I know you put together some information for us to look at. We were, I don't see attachment. We were looking to determine the date. We need to get that date set for the organizational meeting. The first Wednesday in January, which would normally be our regular board meeting, is Wednesday, January 6th. So are you guys fine with keeping that date as a date for our organizational meeting?
I am, Madam Chair. I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. The earlier the better, just because we know that snow is going to happen and we don't want to push it out. So yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I agree. And it falls on our normal first Wednesday of the month.
Yeah.
So Dr. Rock, we have settled in then on the organizational meeting, January 6th. And are we going to keep our 6:30 time?
Yes.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Good with it.
And then we need to set our president pro temp for that meeting. The beginning of the meeting, that temporary president will run the school board meeting to facilitate the election of the board president. And then after that, the board president, whomever is selected, will then move on in and do the vote for the vice president. Typically, we have had either the current president sit, our board treasurer, Dr. Rock, has done it in the past couple of years. So Dr. Rock, would you care to take that role on again this year for us?
Certainly.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
could we just have the current president take that position, or?
We can, but then she also has the option to follow Robert's rules and have the secretary of the board do that, which is what we
Okay,
did
that's
last year.
That's
Dr.
fine.
Rock sits in that position.
That's fine.
Thank
That's
you.
fine.
And then Dr. Rock, so we needed to do that. And did you sent the dates to us to begin looking so that we can vote on them. So board, we do have a homework assignment. He did send us a list of the meetings, proposed meetings for 2021. So we can discuss and vote on them at the organizational meeting on January 6th.
Yes, I just applied our current schedule that we're on right now, just to see how that would, if we continue that into the new school year, how that would look.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rock.
Thank you,
You're
Dr.
welcome.
Rock. Mhm.
The next item on our agenda is items 8.2. We wanted to begin the discussion. It looks like Mr. Jolly had to take a call. Excuse me, he wanted to begin the discussion to think through dates and timing for our strategic planning discussion. As we are at the end of 2020, we are at the end of our 5-year strategic plan. And so to get the year started off right, we want to make sure we are on track with the 2020 plan, from the 2020 plan, determine what we need to build upon and set goals for the next 3, 5, however many years we decide to build this plan out. So we just wanted to begin the conversation to think through timing. Dr. Rock, I'm not Dr. Rock, Mr. Jolly, I wanted to hand this over to you to see if are you back with us, sir?
Yeah, I'm here. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. To see what you wanted to add to that discussion.
Yeah, so our strategic plan, the not return to excellence, but the latest one that we did, it expired. It kind of expires this year. So it's time for us to revisit it and work through it. It might not be a lot of changes to it, but it is an opportunity for us to revisit the strategic plan. So last time we did hire OSBA to help us facilitate that plan. I thought that went relatively well. I think I would like to make a recommendation that we bring OSBA back to facilitate the process, that we include our stakeholders, WEA, OC, and some parents and stakeholders. And then we just hash out the new plan. I think that plan helped drive our success. The return to excellence plan, the first one, then we move to our next plan, and I think our new plan, which we can have ready to go by June, and be prepared for next school year with a very distinct strategic plan that will get us ready and keep us focused on the work that we're doing. So with permission, can we reach out to OSBA to, get some dates and get one of their facilitators to work with us?
That's fine with me.
I think that's a great idea.
Right.
Yeah,
I think we need to do that.
So do we have a time frame as to when you want to start the strategic plan? Do we know that yet, or?
So yeah, I would like to start February, March. I think would be a great time, because we want to have it flushed out and done by the end of school, so that next school year, all the planning is based upon that strategic plan. And everything is tied back to it. And I know we'll make some changes. Some of the things in the strategic plan about the facilities we've accomplished already. Some of the things that we had 5 years ago are done. We probably could go through it and check off things that we have done. But now we have new horizon things that we got to accomplish now, that unforeseen based on COVID and everything else that we need to add to our plan. So, Operation CatchUp, how we gonna catch kids up, instrumental part of this strategic plan. So I think by June we should have it done. That would be the goal.
Okay. Madam Chair, I don't mind reaching out to OSBA to get a quote, and then I can hand the baton over to you to kind of, facilitate, work through whatever little kinks we need to work through.
Okay.
I'm fine with that if everyone else is. Jolly, I didn't know if you were, because I think when we did the first one, and I might be frozen because I'm getting a message that
you are freezing sometimes.
Yeah, something's happening over here with our internet. I think when we did the first one, I don't remember if it was you, Mimi, or you, Mr. Jolly, that worked with OSBA to get that.
I believe it was Ms. Gator who worked on it. Yeah. So she did a great job with that. I appreciate it. She would connect that dot. That would be great.
I can do that.
That sounds good. And more than likely, it's going to be virtual. I don't foresee it being in person. So that'll be great.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for volunteering.
Yep, not a problem.
Okay. So I did see 8.1, Maddie had noted vote needed for the January 6th meeting. I didn't think we had to vote on that.
That's actually an option that you have.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm glad we're circling back to that. We either do it, what we've done in the past is we've done it at the beginning of the organizational meeting, where you assign me as pro temp, and then I'm pro temp, and then we take the votes. but it's also an option for the board. You can have a motion tonight to assign me as pro temp, so then I could just start the meeting and then we could go right into all the voting for the new positions. So that's board discretion. But I wanted to put that, I'm glad that came through, because then once, if the board decides to do it this way, then it's on our cycle to ask the board in December if you want to, do it that way and vote, have a board motion to assign the pro temp in December for the January meeting. And then this way you don't have to have an agenda that has that short little section where so if we didn't do it tonight in January, Ms. Mitchell would call a vote to assign me as pro temp, and then I would be pro temp, and then it would go through, and then we'd progress with the meeting. But if we do it tonight, then that eliminates that beginning section.
Probably best to do it tonight.
I thought we've done it in the past I thought we've done it in the past in the month of December. So that's why I put it back on there, Dr. Rob.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, we've done it. We've typically done it in December.
We have.
And just so that the community understands, as of December 31st, technically there are no board officers. Unless there is an emergency where the board officers have to come in and do anything with Mr. Jolly and Dr. Rock. So that's why we assign a president pro temp, because they come in, they'll kick the meeting off, call it to order. They will run the vote for the nomination and voting for the president, and then it gets handed back over to whoever the president will be to begin the rest of the organizational meeting. So if I may have a motion on the floor, please, to approve item 8.1, approving Dr. Rock to serve as our president pro temp for the January 6th organizational meeting.
Madam Chair, I move item 8.1 to assign our treasurer, Dr. Rock, to be the president pro temp for the organization meeting scheduled for January 6, 2021.
May I have a second? Thank you. Since we kind of did this one out of order, which is just fine.
We just have to call the vote. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, unless there's no more discussion, Dr. Rock, can you please call the vote?
I'm sorry. I think it's because your streaming is slow.
Is it hiccuping again? I'm sorry.
Mrs. Gator?
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Miss Mitchell?
Yes, motion passes 5-0. All right, the final thing on our agenda is item 8.3, our board retreat. Just wanted to share, it was a great retreat. We were able to cover the core tenets of governance over the 3-day period, and without going into a deep dive, the facilitator, Deborah Keys Wright Keys to consulting firm that facilitated our session. She sent everyone the entire packet. So we have all of the communication styles. We have the PowerPoint that she walked us through. She provided us with the recommended schedule for our next steps, because it was exciting to hear members ask about completing the book. And so in her recommendation, she noted that 6 months would be a good time frame for us to come back together to come and discuss the rest of the book. It gives us time to read the balance of the book and then be ready for a discussion. So we can also probably add that to the organizational meeting agenda to vote on that then, to make sure that we add that to the calendar. And I see a lot of heads shaking yes. So if they are, I will just email Deborah and make sure she's good with a June-ish timeframe. And we'll go ahead and get some dates laid in there. So I wanted to take a few moments to open the floor to see if anyone wanted to share any succinct comments about their takeaways from our retreat this weekend?
I'll go first. I can make it really brief. I think the thing that I liked best about the retreat is the simple fact that what the book was telling us is how we should, the governance factor to it, the fact that, you know, it's giving us the opportunity to look at things differently. And I think that's one thing that this board has done really well, maybe even more so than some of the other boards, is we really do try to hold ourselves to be true to the role of a school board member, not get involved in the day-to-day, really looking at our roles. And I like the fact that we kept hearing people say, what's the right question? Because that's what it comes down to, is us asking the right questions. So I thought it was really good. I'm looking forward to meeting with her again, all of us meeting again in 6 months. It was a great retreat.
I would agree. For me, it was just a very open, I think there were some conversations that have been needing to be had for quite some time now. And they were had in a safe space. They were had in a very loving manner. I think if nothing else, it continued to show the foundation of family, which is what we've been working from for a long time. And it was good to see that come through. For me, again, like you said, Mimi, those systematic questions, the right questions, taking that deep dive into thinking through how our actions, what we're voting on, how it impacts the entire ecosystem, not just the educators in OPSI and the students, but the parents, the everybody in the community. So it really helped us stay on track with what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to function as a board.
Also,
anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like, Madam Chair, just to speak on it. I think Deborah Keys Wright did a great job. She opened us up. The book was good, the governance core. It was good to see our ex-National School Board president put his take on it. But I think in any school district, it's good when you are cohesive and you're collective in your decisions and governance. And I know across the country, we forget that governance part, like Mimi said. I mean, we get wrapped up in the day-to-day and we want to try to tell a superintendent or treasurer what to do. That's not our job as a school board member, but our job is to actually look at what is recommended and make decisions. But I think it opened me up, and I know I talked to a couple of the board members, of everybody's style. And like when Ms. Gator might do something, I'm like, why she do that? But now I understand. Or if Earl does something, now I understand the type of people they are, that the decisions they make for this board and for the scholars. So I think it was a great weekend. I think we learned a lot. I think she opened her eyes. And like you say, Madam Chair, some of the stuff that I didn't even know was discussed. And now I hope it's settled and we can move on and get better. Just like we discussed and want our scholars to get better, our educators, we as board members are doing our deep dives to get better. So I think it was a great retreat. And that's it.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Anyone else?
Well, I'm going to chime in, and actually, I'm going to say I agree with Mimi, Tracy, as well as Earl. This retreat gave us an opportunity to really talk to each other. We was holding stuff back, and it gave us a chance to say, you know, how I feel, how Mimi feel. And now I just think going into January, we on a whole new plate. That means we're going to be better than we were this year, because we have developed a team, we have developed a bond with each other, and we trust each other, and we value each of our opinion. Your opinion, Mimi, is very important. I'm still amazed at the fact that our style are so similar. But you know, and it's something, because you ask all the question the majority of the time, and then I say, oh well, I don't have to ask that question because Mimi done asked it already. So, that to me, that is a good thing, because now I can say, you ask some excellent questions, and we just want to, ask the right question and not to prolong it. But I think this retreat gave us a whole new outlook on our role and what we should be focusing on. That's it.
Thank you, Earl. Anything?
Actually, Madam Chair, I don't have anything to share because once everything has been said, everything,
Right.
all the relevant information has been given by the other board members. I'd like to thank you for putting that information out. I enjoyed the retreat a great deal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Earl.
Well, Mr. Jolly, are there any announcements? You're on mute.
I think I made all the announcements, but I do have one. So yesterday we did play our first basketball game here. It went relatively well. There's the process, and I will have Mr. Swift come on our next meeting to discuss it, but I'll just share how it goes. So there's no money exchange. Everything is online. I mean, not online, but you got digital tickets. So you have the digital ticket process. You come in, flash your ticket, going to the gym. So yesterday we found a little glitch in the ticket process, people selling tickets to kids and so forth. So what we're gonna do now is the new process is that the away team has to submit a list of names to Mr. Swift, so we can limit the amount of tickets, the amount of people that come into the game. So only every player just gets 2 tickets. They get their two parents. That's it. So we technically could probably the capacity of the gym, which is 15%, is like 140 people. We probably be around 100 people spread out the gym. He has the the sections all sectioned out and so forth. The away side is that's where the students sit 6 feet apart and so forth. Every game is streamed on YouTube. So everybody can see, not every game, but every home game is streamed on YouTube. So go to the Warrensville Athletics page on YouTube and you get to see the game. So the next home game is Friday. Get to see the game on YouTube. You can even hear the announcer at the game. But we invested in it's a camera that sits at mid-court, and the camera just follows the game. I mean, if you go look on YouTube, you'll see it. It's a great, like you there. So I commend Mr. Swift for finding the technology to make sure that we're able to stream the games, because we know it's a possibility. We might not have no fans eventually, but we can continue to allow our young people to have that opportunity to enjoy their senior year and play sports. So the LEL, we going in concert with the LEL. So the other LEL teams are playing. So not all of them, but most of them are. So we're letting our kids get that opportunity. So, these are unpredictable times. We don't know what's going to happen this week, what's going to happen next week. But at this point, we okay. And we'll continue to allow them that opportunity until we're going to pray nothing happens and they'll get to finish the season. So
thank you. Thank you. Dr. Rock, do we have any correspondence?
No, we do not.
Okay, I didn't think so. Well, all right. I just want to take a few moments to wish everyone a wonderful holiday season. Stay safe. I'm sorry. I thought you said something. Have a wonderful holiday season. Please stay safe. To everyone that's joined us online, we wish the same to you and yours. And we look forward to seeing everyone in January at our organizational meeting. So without further ado, if I can have a motion on the floor to please adjourn the Wednesday, December 16th, 2020 regular school board meeting.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn the December 16th meeting.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Happy holiday, Happy New Year's, the whole works.
Everybody be safe.